What's going on, guys? Today I wanted to say Happy New Year. We're jumping into January with both feet. So wanted to take a quick little look ahead into 2022 to say, what are we expecting in the real estate market? So obviously I don't have my crystal ball in front of me to be able to predict the future because we would be going to Vegas and having a good time together. Anyways, kind of what we're looking at, what I've been talking to people about, doing a little research on my own to try and figure out, is there anything that we can expect, kind of forecast for this year? And obviously, we can't put any guarantees on anything, but there are three things that I'm looking at. So one is going to be, we had a ton of appreciation last year. So are we going to expect it to drop off a cliff? Not really. The other one's going to be inflation. And I know it's a buzzword that everyone's throwing around, as far as seems that every month or so we have a new buzzword, as far as it's the supply chain, it's this or that, whatever. And then the third thing is going to be just even the housing prices in general, where they're at right now. So let's start with the appreciation. Last year, we saw about 28% appreciation here in the Phoenix market. So that beat out the national average, which was about 18%. So we're 10% above the national average. And if I have my numbers correct, that 10% is what we would almost regularly see or would want to see. Which is still pretty aggressive. Anyways, with all of that, we're not expecting that to go from 28% and just crash to zero, which we can have a course correction, all that stuff, but we don't see anything necessarily on the horizon that says the floor is about to fall out. So at least in the real estate market, because that's where I'm playing right now. So what is expected from the research that I've done is that it wouldn't make sense for us to be able to repeat a 28% jump again. Could we still see some aggressive growth? Absolutely. We're still one of the most popular states for people to move to in the US. So we've got people coming in. We have businesses coming in. This is common knowledge, but it's not like it's slowed down. If anything, it's just kept on trucking. We've got enormous construction projects going all across the valley. You can almost go anywhere and see, yep, Arizona and particularly Phoenix is booming right now. So one of the projections I saw is that they're hoping for 8 to 10% of appreciation this year. So yes, it could be higher, it could be a little lower. It really depends on a lot of the other factors that are going to happen, as far as what does the financial market do, where's everyone's jobs, what happens with the inflation, which we'll be getting to in a second. So I would assume that we're going to probably fall in line with we're having another year of appreciation. But at the same time, like I said, there's no crystal ball that I'm looking into that can guarantee that, because we'd be making a lot of money otherwise. Mentioned it a couple times, inflation. So yes, it's the buzzword, but when I did a little digging into it, people have said that when we have inflation, we're seeing the house prices change accordingly. We saw this, and I should say it was seen because I wasn't there, but in the 70s, there was quite a bit of appreciation that happened, and the home prices were right in line with that appreciation. So not only is it just, yes, as our goods go up, as everything around us goes up in value, the houses that we're living in are going to naturally go up in value to keep pace with that, because they're a valuable asset, and so there's a ratio that's going to probably keep. Anyways, don't want to get too far off track. That's another thing that's going to be propping up the prices. So a lot of people in the last year had been talking about, oh, everything went up so high, I'm just going to wait for it to crash because you can't go up that high and it not crash. But with the inflation that we've seen, money doesn't get pulled out of an economy. A government doesn't print it and then say, oh, you know what, we need to remove that money. It's there. So that means, in my mind, at least some percentage of these home prices would stay. And now this is obviously barring a correction in the market that would say like something in line with 2008, or if it's the housing market were to start having issues, if the financial market were to have a lot of issues and we were to course correct on a very large scale. But as far as the housing industry itself, I think these prices are kind of getting ready to stick around. They're moving in and they don't want to move out. third thing, and it kind of ties into the first, but we've seen the housing prices just across the board and go up. And that's not just buying a home, but that's also the rental side. Rentals are extremely expensive. When I've had people talk to me about, hey, I'm thinking about getting a rental for a year or two so that we can kind of let everything calm down. It's like, when we go to look at rentals, they're astronomical. I've got a friend in Phoenix, close to Scottsdale, and he was telling me that their apartment it's a 2-bedroom apartment. It's going up $600 from what they had originally signed on for. So they're still in their term, they're fine. But the whole point is that rents are going up. So it's not that house prices are going up, rents are staying low. So it makes sense to be in a rental and just wait it out and go from there. So it's the same thing as we had before. You're establishing equity in a house, the rental, you're paying that away. And the other thing too, it's all a math equation for the landlord. If it's a single family home that they're renting out, they're going to either want to cover their mortgage if they just bought it, or they're going to want to keep up with what's going on in their area because they're there to make money. Not faulting them, that's just what's happening. But they oftentimes are going to have to pay for a property manager, and then they're trying to make a little profit on it as well. So instead of just having, if we've got a new investor who has their rental, instead of them just charging what the mortgage is, it's a little higher than that. If they bought it a couple of years ago, it's going to be higher than whatever their mortgage is because they need to cover those numbers. So in the end, we're seeing people who move 5 to 7 years, I believe, on average. So it makes sense as far as if you're going to be in a place, if you have the ability to get into a home, we can build some equity for several years and then start to make a lateral move. And a lot of this will kind of tie back into the inflation conversation we had, but also even the appreciation conversation we had at the beginning. If the home price is going to go up, even if you're only making a lateral move, at least you are able to do that. You've banked equity in the home and go from there. So usually with these videos, I try to let you guys know that there's a charity that we're focusing on, and I'm going to be donating to for every closing that I have during the quarter. So this quarter, we're going to have Phoenix Rescue Mission, and they do a great job here in Phoenix. They've got food banks in several locations, helping people who are struggling, but also they have a very big push for helping the homeless population. So they don't just take it as far as, oh, there's homeless people, we're just giving them money, but they really try and get into, there's counseling, there's also providing safe housing for families who have suffered from abuse. So they try and make sure that those people are taken care of as well. So they don't just enter into saying, okay, we're gonna give things away, but they try and really get into help the root of the problem and assist in any way they can. So feel free to check them out. I would love if you guys would donate to them, or at least thinking about that. Yeah, so that's our highlighted charity for this quarter. I hope this video was helpful, kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at, and hopefully it's a snapshot of what we're looking at going into 2022. If you guys are thinking about buying or selling, you've got some friends who are thinking about buying or selling, I would love to talk to you, love to talk to your friends, and go over what we're seeing right now. And yeah, so I will catch you guys on the next video. Hope you guys have a great 2022. See ya.